Hello, everybody. Welcome to our live stream. This is our second one. Very, very excited to be here. And I see tons of comments already. I've just come across from my regular live stream. And from the Emma Cruises live chat, we have a lovely comment that says, "Can you just tell all of the Cruise Globe peeps that we love them?" So we'll start with that. How are you doing, Matt? We've not talked yet today.
Yeah, busy one. Trying to polish off lots of things for the week. And I'm over in Bristol at the moment. Visiting some family, and so going through all the snow and all sorts at the moment.
We've had
bad weather.
Hell of a time to travel. I love this first comment that we have in here that says, "If the estimated global cruise market is 34 million cruisers, we've captured 0.29%. How far are we looking to grow our market share?"
I love this. This is like the investor questions. It's fantastic. I can tell you, it's so the goal for this year is 550,000 users.
Pretty ambitious.
The goal within that is to make sure that everyone's having a great time on the platform. Everyone's getting a lot of value from it. So it's important not to just think about it from the perspective of users, and just also try and recognize that it matters what experience everyone's having as well. But yeah, we're really confident we can get to 500,000 this year, which would be insane to even say. It sounds bad, but it's all calculated. It's not just a finger in the wind. In the fullness of time, I don't think any platform or app has ever got to 100% of anything. So that's always tough. But I definitely think 10% is doable. And I mean, that's the kind of level that we'd expect to be at in a couple of years' time. Would be 3-4 million users on the platform, which would be, again, pretty insane, but also doable.
Yeah, 10%. Imagine going on a cruise, 1 in 10 people has the app. I don't think that's a lot to ask. So that is a really cool question.
It's a great question. I think the big thing as well will be, as soon as you can start to see other people's cruises and stats, again with their permission, of course, then you start hopefully getting more incentive for inviting friends on board as well. So I'm hoping that helps take things off it.
Yeah. Our next question it says, "Is Will involved with the Cruise Globe? When I bought my first cruise map, the co-founders of Cruise Maps were Matthew and Will, and then they hired Polly." Someone has been paying attention. That's awesome.
Yeah, Will is absolutely. You don't hear as much from Will. He has just had his first kid. So he's had a daughter.
Busy guy.
He's a very, very busy man at the moment with that. But yeah, he's still very, very much involved. And in the start, it was... We met Emma probably must have been a month into doing it. So we came up with the idea for the cruise maps first and started doing that. I think was that question from Rosemary. Was it? It's one of our very first customers, which is awesome. And Polly's still very much involved as well. She's been busy working on a new website for the cruise maps, which is going live on Monday. So if you go to thecruisemaps.com on Monday, in the afternoon, you'll see something very different, which is cool.
Exciting. Yeah, I think we all have very different jobs, don't we? And Will always does the behind the scenes things that I don't even claim to understand. But
sometimes I have a partial understanding of. Frankly, he's the chartered naval architect, so he's the one who knows all the nuts and bolts with the data.
Yeah. We have Gary in here. He says, "Looking forward to the chat and questions, answers with Matt and Emma. Interesting ones already posted." Yeah, I'm very happy to see questions already. This is just our second live stream, so thank you so much. We have another question that says, a regular cruiser on my last cruise mentioned Cruise Mapper. I've not used it, but do you see it as competition?"
Oh, I love it. Okay. Yeah. Yes, technically. I mean, they do I think some things they do a really good job of. They specifically only do live cruise tracking. But I know for a fact they get 2.2 million people a month using the platform. So I mean, when it comes down to it, they're much bigger than us in many ways. I think what they do well as well is they do a really good job of wave and wind data. That's something we want to add. and they have quite good information about the cruise as well. So like extra content around ships and different itineraries. That's all stuff we can add. So yeah, we're confident that we can beat their live tracking experience. We do actually think about doing that as well. That's something we actively try and achieve, in the fullness of time. And yeah, I think they are definitely a competitor. I know for a fact they don't plan on doing anything on the historic cruises, which is kind of, as you all know, obviously the big piece with the Cruise Globe is being able to track the cruises in the past. And I think it's that signed in experience of, if you can't, I don't think you can have an account in Cruise Mapper possibly. And as a result, you don't get really a personalized experience, but equally, all credit to them. You don't get I know for a fact you don't get 2.2 million users on a website without doing something right.
Yeah, it's definitely a website I used to use a lot. I don't need to anymore now that it's inside Cruise Globe. But if you asked me a year ago, 2 years ago, when I'm on a cruise and I'm looking live at where we are, there's a few websites. They're not always the one that I would necessarily go to, but it's one I've been aware of for a very, very long time. But I love having the live data inside Globe. I've really enjoyed on my most recent cruise seeing the predicted route and then the real route updating. I love it when we start to. I don't want us to go on the predicted route. I want us to deviate off. That's so much more interesting to me. And we did have a port change. We had a sea day, so we sort of went around a little bit to kill time, and I loved seeing that. So now I'm going to be always watching that every single day on a cruise. I love this comment. It just says it's the final countdown. Dada betting in here, like waiting for the light. How did you even do this? Because you're on my live stream at the same time. This comment says, "Are we looking for investors, Matt?"
I'd always have a conversation, put it that way. But no, it's a very. I mean, there's a reason we've sort of, I think we've made this pretty clear. Like it is super expensive to build. We currently spend, and again, not to leave this room obviously, but we currently spend probably 50,000-60,000 pounds a month on building this. It's not cheap. So if we're going to do everything we want to do and do it quickly, then yeah, taking on board some investment soon is something we are looking at. But it's got to be the right people. It's got to be, it's very important to not. We're not in the business of trying to sell anything down the river here. It's got to be right, but equally, it's a delicate balance with making sure you've got enough money in the bank to build everything we need to build. Mm-hmm.
I have written down a few questions that I've had in other places recently about Globe. One of them made me laugh because it just said, if I was to add a cruise to Cruise Globe and I get it wrong, am I going to annoy your team? And I want to just say no. Please add it. Even if you add it wrong, you can edit it. You can delete it. If you put in an intermediate port and it's wrong, you can change it. Do not worry. We'd much prefer you to have a go. Even if you don't know, some of the older cruises, you might need to know your ports. Just guess. Like we don't. It's fine. You're not going to annoy us. We have a massive log of cruises that we're going through. We're not going to be annoyed. Please just.
In actual fact, a lot of the time, the team have seen so many cruises now, as you can imagine, that they can usually spot the errors a mile off and often just correct them themselves.
Yeah.
And so, really don't worry about that. It's,
if you do accidentally put an intermediate port that is between, Bruges and Southampton, and then you accidentally put Sydney for one day, like we can tell what is an obvious mistake.
And it's kind of a given. It's always going to it's just a slip of the finger when you're typing something in. So
of course.
I think it's something like 15% of the cruises that get entered are not actually correct, and we have to do something with them in terms of it's an error in inputting it.
Yeah.
But equally, the one thing I also realize now is the number of times we have been asked where is the delete button. I realize we made a massive error in positioning that under this chevron, this arrow that drops down. Like we've answered that question, I kid you not, probably about 300 times. which is entirely our fault, by the way. If people are asking that question, it means we haven't done it clearly enough. But yeah, you can always delete a cruise, 100%.
Yes, yeah. Please don't worry about annoying anyone. Like, just add it. I did get some questions just wanting a bit of reassurance that the cruises you add are private. I think some people do worry that once they've added their history, other people will be able to see it. It's completely your own cruise globe. In the future, we do hope that you'll be able to share it, but it's never going to be shared without you sharing it. So it is completely private. Just a bit of
yeah,
just want to restate
I think this is so much more important now. We started doing future cruises as well, because I know understandably some people worry about giving details about where they're going to be, particularly if they're going to be away, right? It's super understandable, but it's all stored on a completely safe database. We've just gone through a big security overhaul on that as well. It's not the most scintillating chat in the world, but we have, and so yeah, it's all, and it's really, really important when we do start letting people see that each other's cruises will be totally opt-in. Like, if you don't want to follow it, like, think of it almost like I'm very hesitate to say social network, but think of it as sort of if you wanted to go and just use, I don't know, Twitter or whatever, and use that as a and not follow anyone, you absolutely could. It's probably not the best example. Strava is probably a good example there, right? You could go and log your runs and your bike rides in Strava and not follow anyone and not let anyone follow you, and you'd be totally private, right? You still have that option. But if you want to share it and you want to see others, then you will be able to. Yeah,
that sounds good. This comment says, what are the in-office requirements for our team?
Okay.
Where we are and how often we're in the office.
You not very much, Emma.
To be fair, I'm in quite a lot of strange places most of the time. So I'm in the office the least. We'll say that.
You have a tailor-made excuse there, being on a ship the most as well, right?
That is my office, to be fair.
Exactly.
But yeah, you're in there the most, probably.
It's interesting because we're actually looking to hire some people this next couple of months, and I was asked this question by the team on sort of as we're trying to bring people aboard. Naturally, that's the first question people want to know now, is how long they have to be in office, and everything else. Very deliberately, not mandating any number of days there, because I feel like people should just be trusted to work where they think is best. And we are a travel company at heart, so it's like, I certainly, in a couple of weeks' time, I'm going to be working with Emma in the Canaries, and looking forward to that. So it really. Yeah, it's really baked in that no one has to be in there. We do have an office in London. I'm probably in 3 days a week, I would say. And a lot of the team like it. A lot of the time, if we're planning out new features for the Globe and things, having a physical whiteboard is so nice, and it's so useful to put down ideas. But sometimes it's also nice to get your head down and sift through all the messages and emails and whatnot in silence.
Yeah, I have very much different days in my schedule, in that some days are completely, I'm not filming anything, I'm doing entirely admin, I'm not talking to a person. I talk to you, that's fine, but I have very much like inside days, and then some days I'm filming things and I'm having meetings and I'm recording stuff, and that's how it works best for me. Because if I need to record something, it's a very different brain set. I can't be talking to my accountant like on the set. It just doesn't work for me. So that's how I do things. And if I'm in an office, then I'm outward mode and I'll get dressed into real uniform and go outside. All right, we've got so many questions. We'll head straight back into these. Can you share any ideas or plans to bring the users back to the app in between cruises? This one we've been thinking about a lot.
Awesome. Yeah. And this is the big thing, right? Is if people are, one of the challenges with any travel-based app is like, how do you make it useful in between? And I still think the biggest possible thing here is the social element. If you can show people each other's cruises. I don't know if anyone remembers when social media used to be a chronological news feed. Like once upon a time, there was no algorithm, and you got a list in chronological order of your friends' posts and what they've been up to, and I think that same kind of mechanism for social could be really interesting, where if you've reviewed something, or if you've booked on a cruise, or you've just got back from a cruise and you've uploaded your photos, you could have that kind of mechanism. I think naturally that would want to bring you back in to keep using it. I'm hoping that like the tracking of live cruises as well, and I know that a lot of people, myself included, like to just come back in and see that. But I think those two are probably the biggest elements, and then we want eventually the Globe to be a bit of a content repository as well, and by that I mean like deck plans and sort of port guides and itineraries. I know a lot of people go to Shipmate for some of this now, Cruise Mapper as well, and lots of different platforms that should all be in one place, really. So yeah, lots of ideas on this front. We want more ideas as well, like what would actually keep you coming back. And I think some people forget about it, frankly, in between cruises. Sometimes like a little prompt, a prompt is useful as well.
Yeah, some people are forgetting, just not specifically about us, but just they don't think about their cruises because they're at work, they're getting on with their life. And then I do think the countdowns a lot. I mean, I have so many ideas on things I care about, because obviously I'm really in this industry, but I would love it, if it would say Matt's on, he's just shared that he's going on this ship and it's the ship that you've been on, and then I can all of a sudden message you and be like, I love that ship. Or Matt is now in Tenerife, you were in Tenerife 64 days ago, that kind of stuff. I would love so many things like that. The countdowns, being able to share at different time periods. Yeah, really looking forward to
it. Hopefully also booking is a big factor here, right? Like I think we've said this before, but one of the plans is obviously eventually to be able to book your cruise, if not in the Cruise Globe, then certainly like through the Cruise Globe in some way. And like that's going to be a big aspect, because the way we're going to do that is by showing people cruises that we think they would like based on what they've done before. And I think that's hopefully interesting to sort of browse as well, and to browse pretty frequently, but let's see.
Yeah, Dadabetic says, our next cruise is Disney Adventure out of Singapore. Amazing. Love Singapore. 4 nights and no port stops. Can't wait to see the routes. Okay. That's my favorite kind of cruise, to look at the routes. You all go round and round in circles.
Yeah.
Do we know how many unique cruises have been entered now, assuming 500,000 cruises is total? Oh, unique cruises. I don't know.
I don't know off the top of my head. Actually, we can find out. I know a lot of stats on this, but that's not one. No, I don't know. But I do know that we're over 100,000 that have been manually checked now. And so by definition, those are all unique. It'll be a lot more than 100,000 that are unique. But no, I will find that answer next week and I'll put it in the group.
That's interesting. Yeah. This comment says, is the Marella cruise going to be a work trip? Are you allowed to drink on this cruise? And can you tell I work in HR? Yeah, I mean, it's an all-inclusive cruise. So that's part of the research that I have to do. But yeah, I'll let
Emma do the drinking for both of us. I
will say, Marella, an all-inclusive cruise line, but the all-inclusive cocktails, I mean, it is different colors of juice. Like, I don't think anyone is going to get particularly drunk on Marella's all-included drinks. But for me, I'm not filming my normal YouTube video on that cruise, so I'm feeling very free. That's one of the reasons I've well, kind of. It's one of the reasons I've been able to share that I'm going on this cruise, because I normally don't tell the cruise lines in advance. This time they know I'm going there because we've been talking about this for ages, so they can give me chocolate strawberries all they like.
Yeah. Also, we work with Marella on the cruise map side, so we do one of our partner maps for Marella in their branding, their logo and stuff. So I know they were quite keen to. I won't kid myself and say they were keen on me being on board. They're keen on Emma being on board, and I happen to be there too. And so hopefully we'll do a bit of content with with Morella maps on board and things like that. So yeah, I'm classing it as a work trip for sure. But that doesn't mean you can't have fun too. Yeah.
Of course. That's such a funny quote. They wanted Emma on board, and I'll be there too. Oh.
I think that's fair. To be honest, I won't kid myself on that.
They want Emma on board, and Emma wants Matt on board. So that's how this works. Okay. I really hope that you like it. I think you will. We will see.
I have no basis of comparison, so I'm going with high expectations.
This question from Chris says, I have 9 future cruises. 2 require me to add the ports manually. 3 are waiting for data to be checked, and 4 have shown up instantly. What determines which ones need to be checked? So future cruises.
Yeah. So I would recommend, I do a post on, I did a video on this on the Facebook group as well. So go have a look at that as well for a bit more detail. But generally it's the case that when we're doing any future cruise predicted route, what we're using there is, if you haven't given us the itinerary, the intermediate ports, it means that we've got the itinerary data. So the itinerary data is the list of ports. It's the same data that most cruise agencies will buy. They'll buy that from a central, like a data provider that sells it to cruise agencies. We do the same. We buy that data in. It tells us for every future cruise that's been planned by a cruise line, theoretically, and this is the catch. Theoretically, every future cruise that's being planned by a cruise line, it should have that list of ports. And of course, that data provider is updating that frequently so that those cruise agents are selling the right cruise each time, right? Unfortunately, that data is not perfect at all. And so if we cannot match up what you've inputted to a existing itinerary, then what we basically need to do is go figure out how does it match up properly. And part of the challenge here is actually because cruise agents, I think, are very cheeky when it comes to how they market a port, because sometimes it's sort of they're saying London and it's Southampton, or they're saying, Paris and Le Havre is also a really good one, and that confuses the system no end, right? Because it requires total accuracy. And I think the way to view these predicted routes is they're a bit nascent at the moment. They're quite new, and we're figuring them out still a little bit. And they'll only ever be as good as the itinerary data is, frankly, or how good your intermediate ports are that you submit if we don't have the itinerary data. Yeah. But it's kind of a bit of fun, really, because at the end of the day, the itinerary, the actual route based on satellite data will always be there after the cruise, right? So that's the one that we're really worried about.
Yeah, there's a few sort of little quirks to it at the moment. Like, for example, our cruise that we're going on, the 7-day one, it only wants the 14-day one. I'd love to stay on for the 14 days, but we're already doing the week. So I have added that manually. But like a works, just a little a quirk right now. But it's very, very new.
I also realized this week with Polly and Lesh and some of the team that we were saying, like, and this is still true, so we haven't fixed this yet, but it's coming very soon. We were saying sort of estimated route coming soon, predicted route, checking your route, etc. And there's too much different language around how we're talking about that, when actually probably just saying the route's being checked is enough in most instances. And you just want to know when it's done. I suspect, at least that's the feedback I got so far.
I think that's right. This question says, would be fun to see a graphic with all unique cruises overlaid onto a single cruise map as an annual sale or fundraiser. We do something kind of like this, don't we? We once a month sort of share the last month's cruises. And if you look at that one and you see how many cruises we have in a month, I don't think we can do any more than that without just coloring in the map black. Because once a month, I think we could do, I don't even know that we could do any more than once a month. You know, that line across the transatlantic is like...
I do often. So Rich on the team, who's our data engineer, runs that each month, the heat map, we call it, for all cruising last month. And he did tell me today, because it was yesterday, he ran it for December. And he said his laptop gets significantly hotter after it runs that. So I think it might be tough, but we can look into it.
Yeah, there would only be certain parts that you could see of the globe. Like, it would be mostly just black lines, and then you'd be able to see a few bits.
Well, we kind of thought with the monthly heat map, it's quite interesting because you kind of see the changing of seasons, right? And you see where there is a sort of a natural variation throughout the year around the world. The cruises migrate, as it were, and always something going on somewhere.
Yeah, I noticed recently, I think it was Svalbard or somewhere like that. Once it gets back to like summer or winter or whatever it was, suddenly this starts happening and then it all goes away again. And
yeah. So we are peak Antarctic season at the moment.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe it was that. We have a question that says, as a start to the social platform, could you make it so that a channel or a feed in the app allows to post on Facebook, like Facebook content? As in, do you mean share links to cruises on Facebook rather than downloading countdowns and downloading passports and then uploading them to Facebook? Because if yes, then yes.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't want to integrate it with Facebook in any way because that would be
we want to make it better to share for sure.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of pointing to the fact that there are loads of Facebook groups out there. There's all over. There's so many, right, for cruising, and so this is not trying to recreate Facebook for cruising. It's just no, definitely not. But what people log in the Cruise Globe is stuff they absolutely want to talk about. We believe, right, and certainly that's the case for us. And if you want to talk about it, you should be able to talk about it. And the first step of it, in my eyes, is we'll start by letting you log your own content. So that should be things like reviews. I've had a lot of people say they'd like to say what cabin number they were in. Of course, that's so obvious. We should have done that first, but there we go. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. And captain's name and what cabin they were in, and even meals on board and things like that. Just as a log, the memory, which I totally agree with, and I want to. And I think that's the starting point for the social experience, because I think as it stands, it wouldn't be that interesting to see. It would be interesting for a while, but it wouldn't be that interesting to see each other's accounts, again with permission, of course, but it wouldn't be that interesting. Whereas if you have your photos uploaded and they're tagged to where they were taken on the route, and you have your review of that cruise and what you thought about it, etc., it becomes a bit like, of course, there's Cruise Critic out there that has a lot of this kind of written content, but it's that with the map and with the visual element thrown in all in one place. And that becomes, I think, really interesting.
Yes. I love this comment that just says that the monthly heat map is basically the Cruise Globe's calendar. We should do that next year. We should have a calendar that has each month's cruises on it. That's really cool.
That's good.
Great question in here saying, have you thought of people being able to order a world map showing all cruises that someone has done? I was asked that showing someone Cruise Globe, and they were very keen on that.
Yeah, we have thought about it. We've done a lot of work on it, actually. We get lost a fair bit, but the challenge is that being completely in a friendly forum here, the one big element is that we do rely on that map revenue a lot to fund what we're building with the Globe. And if you put out a map that allowed you to put all of your cruising on one map, a lot of people would wait, and they wouldn't buy the maps after each cruise. They start collections. They'd sort of hold off. And I think that's a bit challenging also, because it's like, when have you finished your cruise career? Hopefully never, right? It's sort of, and that's kind of the challenge there, is that once you have printed that, you're not going to add anything to it. And that's the beauty of the Globe, is obviously you can keep adding to it. And same, we had a lot of requests for a physical Globe, and it's again the same challenge really. It's like, sort of, how do you add to it once it's live? There are other things in the sense that some people who are asking have got sort of 70, 80, particularly I saw that question was from Gary. Like, Gary's one would look very messy, I'm afraid. But yeah, it's fitting a lot of cruises on one map. And then the final thing that we struggled with on that one was, how do you show like a 4-day cruise to Dover to Amsterdam and back on the same scale as a whole world map? It'll get lost.
What would you do with ports? Like, you just I'm just imagining mine, just from looking at Cruise Globe, if that was printed out.
It's a tough one.
I don't think I would. I don't think I'd want that on my wall. I think it's too messy because there were too many cruises. Most
Yeah,
people don't.
I mean, by virtue of the fact we get the question a lot, I think people would like it. But I think when they saw the reality of it, I don't think it would be as impressive as it sounds.
Yeah, I get that. All right, it is the end of our live stream, Matt. Doesn't this time fly? It really flies.
It does, yeah.
We've done really well with the questions, though, and we've had so many questions, particularly from Dada Betting in here. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Really appreciate that.
But yeah, we'll do another one of these in around a month's time after me and Matt's cruise. So we had to talk about that and see what Matt made of it. All right, thank you so much.
Full verdict on Marella.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited. Yeah. All right, goodbye, everybody.
Good stuff. Thanks, guys. Bye.